Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hi there, kids. How are you doing? Welcome back to today's class, and let us start talking about what we're going to go ahead and do today. And let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to go ahead and learn in this class. So, this class, like you know, is a general knowledge class. In the last class, we learned all about the universe, which is so fun for all of us to do. We went ahead and painted a picture of the universe and the galaxies and a bunch of comets and a bunch of stars and a bunch of planets, which was really exciting. Now, while I was teaching you a lot about the universe, there are so many instances when the solar system came up, and we were really excited to speak about the solar system as well. Now, talking about the solar system, I always told you that wait up for the next class because the next class is going to be specifically all about the solar system as well. And here we are with today's class. So, what are we going to be learning today? Now, in today's class, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a drawing or an illustration. Like I told you in the last class, we're going to be going ahead and drawing actually a solar system today with a bunch of sketch pens, as well as I'm going to be teaching you a bunch of facts and giving you a bunch of information about the solar system, which I am super excited about, because I love talking about things and I love sharing about things. And what is the best way to teach if I can go ahead and talk about what we're going to be drawing today, which is the solar system. Now, before we get started with all of the materials that we need today, before we get started with all the facts and before we get started with our picture that we're going to be working with, let us talk about the certificate program that we have going on. Now, the certificate program is a program wherein you go ahead and get a certificate at the end of any course. For example, right now you're going ahead and learning all about the general knowledge course, right? You're going ahead and doing a general knowledge course. Now, what will happen if you go ahead and learn and develop this skill is that you're going to basically get imparted with some certain kind of knowledge. And if you go ahead and attend all of your classes and if you go ahead and make all of your submissions, what is going to happen is you're going to get an identification, which is going to be a certificate telling you that you have gone ahead and done something like this and you have gained this knowledge. And what you can do with that in the later on or in the future is you can go ahead and provide this to someone and tell them that, listen, this is what I have learned, this is what I have gained, this is what my skill set is. So what is going to happen is it's going to really help you on in the future because you're going to have like an identification. This is what I have learned, which is very important. So that is something that is very important. Another thing that is very important and I wanted to tell you about is the feedback program that we have going on. If you go ahead and get selected as part of that top 10, then you will get a personalized feedback from me. So I please, I tell you specifically, please go ahead and make all of your submissions, because if you go ahead and make your submissions, then I will get an idea of how well you're working with whatever you're doing. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and get an idea of giving you a bunch of feedback, which will give you a further information or further knowledge on what you can improve on or what you can excel on, or it can tell you your mistakes and I can identify them so that you don't go ahead and make them in the future. So very, very important, right? These few bunch of things. So now let's get started with our solar system drawing as well as the facts for today. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mark out the list of things that we need, and then we go ahead, grab them, start drawing, and then we do the solar system. Alrighty. So the first thing that we need for today's class is obviously going to be a sheet of paper. Is going to be a sheet of paper. Now you can go ahead and take a drawing book, you can take a journal, you can take a sketchbook, whatever you have with you. If you do not have any of these three, next thing that you need for today's class is going to be a bunch of sketch pens. Here I have the Faber-Castell 12 color set of sketch pens. If you do not have this set of sketch pens, then you can definitely go ahead and take color pencils or crayons or anything of that sort. No specification or color set working around with you. The next thing that you need is a pencil. Now, the pencil is just going to be sort of like something that you use as a guide here and there. So just make sure to have a pencil with you at all times so that you can go ahead and, use it if you have to correct something up or, you have to mark something out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start with our orange color sketch pen. That is going to be for our sun. So let's go ahead and draw our sun. So I'm drawing a straight line first, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the curve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the heat or the waves of our sun by adding some curved lines like this and just joining that in. So here we have the sun. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going ahead and taking um, different colored sketch pens today and drawing the whole solar system around this sun. So the first step to the drawing was drawing the sun itself. Now, while all of you are still going ahead and drawing our sun, I want to give you the first fact of the solar system, which is that though we have the sun in as the center and our core of our solar system, and you would assume that all the planets that are closer to the sun is going to be the hotter planet or is going to be the hottest planet. Unfortunately and fascinating, that is not what it is. So though we know that Mercury is the closest planet to our sun, that is not which is the hottest planet. The hottest planet of our earth is actually going to be Venus, because it is though it is the second closest planet from the sun, it is really, really, really hot. Its density is 100 times thicker than the Earth's density, and that makes the planet itself heat up so much. So even though Mercury is closer to the solar system, it doesn't get really, really hot, which is really fascinating, right? Even though the sun itself gives out so much heat, there is a planet, because of its internal heat, is more hotter than the sun itself. The sun's the one that is closer to the sun itself. How fascinating, right? I'm so fascinated that I couldn't explain that very well. But that is the fact that we are discussing for the first one, that Mercury is not the hottest planet, even though it's closest to the sun. It's actually Venus, because of how thick and dense the planet is by itself. Now, since talking about Mercury, let's go ahead and draw that out. So first thing, before we draw Mercury itself, I want you to take a pencil and I want you to go ahead and draw a bunch of guidelines for all of your planets. So these are going to be your orbits. So now there are 8 planets technically right now because Pluto is not a planet anymore. So we're going to go ahead and draw 8 of these small oval, like half ovals of sorts, semicircles if you want to call them, and we're going to go ahead and draw this all over a sheet of paper. Now take your time doing this. You don't have to rush into it. You don't have to, go ahead and do this fast. Just make sure you have all 8 orbits around. Like you can see in my sheet of paper, my orbits on the sides don't fit in very easily, because I don't have enough space to draw a complete orbit. So hence I've gone ahead and done like a small curve on top and a small curve here. You can go ahead and do the same thing. You don't need full orbits in this space. So here this I'm doing with a pencil because we're going to go ahead and outline that with a sketch pen. But before we go ahead and outline it, it'll just be easier if we have a pencil outline. Now, before we move on to going ahead and drawing Mercury, let me give you the second fact of today, or second piece of information of today, which is that there are rocks on Earth that came from Mars and we didn't really bring them here. So, what does that exactly mean? So, you know how people went ahead to Mars, they went ahead and explored Mars, they figured out whether there's water in Mars or not. There's a lot of study that happens. Mars is very close to us, right? So everybody is trying to research and figure out what is happening in Mars. Now, when they were doing this form of research and all of that, they obviously tested and analyzed the rocks and the soil and everything that was there on Mars. And since they went ahead and did that, they realized there are a lot of rocks and big rocks that are there on Earth as well, which have come from Mars. And obviously, nobody in NASA has gone ahead and brought those rocks to Earth, but it's something that has already been part of our soil. So probably there is some mystery behind that. Probably maybe some rocks have flown from Mars and come here. It could be anything that possibly could have happened. Nobody really knows why, but there are rocks on Earth. So at this, now let's go ahead and start with our drawing. Let's go ahead and draw Mercury. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take a brown color sketch pen for this. You can go ahead and take any color sketch pen. Mercury is a really tiny planet. So around the orbit, I'm going to go ahead and draw a tiny circle and I'm going ahead and coloring that in. And then what I'm going to do and do is I'm going to go ahead and draw the orbit line over here. So take your time in doing this. You can go ahead and take any color of your choice when you're doing this. You do not have to go ahead and take the colors that I am using. There's no specific reason that you have to go ahead and take the colors that I am using. Use any colors of your choice over here. Well done, everybody. I'm looking at everybody's sheets of paper and they're doing very well. Excellent, guys. Excellent. Very well done. Good. All right. So now while everybody is going ahead and finishing up their orbit of Mercury, let's move on to the third fact that we have for today. So the third fact that we have for today is basically related to Earth. Earth has a very unique chemical composition. Now, obviously, we know that each planet is made out of chemicals, but apparently, Earth has a very unique set of minerals and chemicals and everything that it is made up of. So 90% of Earth's atmosphere and Earth itself is made out of iron. Then it's made out of oxygen, it's made out of silicon, and it's made out of magnesium. So 4 things. So you don't really find this in the solar system anywhere, but this is what we normally find in Earth. And you also have some other sort of chemicals, like you have sodium, you have nickel, you have calcium, you have aluminium, and all of these, elements are not really found everywhere on all other planets. It's specifically found only on Earth. And the composition of this really helps humans to survive. And it also has things like helium and hydrogen, right? And hydrogen, like you learn all this later on when you grow up a little bit more, if you are in third fourth standard. But it is what helps us breathe, right? H2O is what water is, and things like that. So all of these small things that are there on Earth is a very unique system and composition that we have. We don't really have this anywhere on any other planets. Maybe one or two things here and there, but not everything at one go. All right. So everybody's drawing is looking really great. So now let's move on to the next planet, which is going to be Venus, which is our hottest planet, like we discussed. So now here again, take a sketch pen of your choice. You can go ahead and take any sketch pen of your choice. I'm just going to be going ahead and taking a green color sketch pen. Venus is a little larger than Mercury, so I've just gone ahead and done a little bit of a bigger circle to just add a little bit of, like a design to it. I'm gone ahead and drawn a bunch of lines on, Venus itself inside the planet. You can go ahead and add in a design of your choice. Whatever design you want to go ahead and add, you can go ahead and add. No hard and fast rule that you have to do exactly what I am doing right now, because it's going to be like sort of like a creative drawing session. I do not want it to be like a really um, like something that you don't enjoy. I want it to be something that you really enjoy, right? So just go ahead and take your time in doing that. All right. While everybody's finishing up their orbit with whichever color sketch pen they have taken, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about Jupiter. Now, like you guys know, Jupiter is the largest planet that we have in our solar system. It's really, really, really big. But that is not the fact that I actually wanted to discuss with you today. The fact that I wanted to discuss with you today is basically about an ongoing storm that is there in Jupiter. So Jupiter, like a storm, like is basically when there is like wind and thunder and rain and everything that is basically going on, right? So in Jupiter, there has been a 300-year-old storm that was started. So 300 years back, a storm had been recorded. And the thing is, the storm is continuing. It has not stopped. Nobody knows when it's going to stop. Nobody knows, how long it will go on for. But right now, at current point, it's been 300 years that the storm has been going on. It's sort of like a big giant hurricane that is there on Jupiter itself. And the wind speed is approximately 270 kilometers per hour, which is very, very fast. We drive at around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, and this is 270 kilometers per hour. So think about how, you know, fast those winds are, right? Because really, really, really fast. And the storm that they say, the storm that is going on right now, or the hurricane that is going on right now, is twice as big as the size of Earth. So think about it. If Earth is like this much, then you have two times of that is the size of the storm, and the storm is on the planet of Jupiter. So think how big Jupiter is, right? Isn't that fascinating? Like, something that is really intriguing to all of us, right? So think about that. And while you think about that, let's move on to our solar system and let's go ahead and draw Earth. For Earth, I'm going to be taking blue and doing that as my orbit. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a blue Earth, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a bunch of designs. You can make it look like, the usual green and blue earth. If you want to not do that, you can go ahead and just add like a few swirls here and there with green and blue, and that should be fine too. I'm just going ahead and filling it up with a little bit of a design here and there, because that's just what I feel like doing. And I'm going to go ahead and do an orbit again. Like I mentioned, you can go ahead and do whatever and however you want to go ahead and do your drawing. You don't have to go ahead and do it with the colors the way I'm doing it. You can use the colors of your choice. Well done, everybody. So now, while everybody is doing the orbit of Earth, I want to move on to my fifth fact, which is going to be Neptune has the fastest wind speeds. Now, we were just discussing about how fast the wind speeds is on Jupiter, but we have something that is even more faster. Now, in the last one, what did I tell you? That we drive at around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And then I told you about how the wind speeds in Jupiter is 270 kilometers per hour, but in Neptune, the fastest wind speeds are 1,600 kilometers per hour. So, how fast is that, right? That's really, 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 like fast, unbelievably fast, right? So the thing is, Neptune itself is made up of a lot of composition of chemicals and gases, and how the chemicals and gases work over there, it results in very, very, very fast wind speeds. So think about how, fast air moves over there, right? Here air moves very pleasantly. We have a gush of wind here and there, but not a lot, not as much as you have going on over there. Now, sitting with that fact, let's go ahead and draw Mars. I'm going to go ahead and take a red color sketch pen to draw Mars on its orbit. And these planets are pretty much similar to each other in size, which is your Earth and you have your Mars and all that. They have small differences between each other. So I'm not drawing them very, very differently. So here you can see I have my Mars right here. So here I've taken a red sketch pen and I've gone ahead and done a weekly pattern inside of Mars. You can go ahead and do any size pattern that you want to do. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to go ahead and do a certain kind of shape or size or whatever, right? Just make sure this, obviously the shape and the size is a little correct, but the colors and the designs that you want to go ahead and add in is up to you. Now, while everybody is drawing the orbit of Mars, I want to move on to my sixth fact. Now, the sixth fact is something really interesting. It's related to human beings, which is that we can grow as much as 5 centimeters when we are in space. So, for example, right now I am around 160 centimeters tall, but if I go into space, then I can grow up to 5 centimeters bigger. So, if for example, you are 100 centimeters, you can go from 100 centimeters to 105 centimeters. Imagine 5 centimeters with just going into space. How cool is that, right? So the basic thing is that, there's gravity that's there, right? On Earth, it's really holding us to the ground, right? But once you go out in space, there is no gravity which is holding us to the ground. So what happens is our spine expands. And since our spine expands, we gain 5 centimeters in our length. Isn't that pretty much amazing, right? Isn't that great? All right. So now let's go ahead and draw the next planet, which is going to be Jupiter. Again, take a color or of your choice, the sketch pen of your choice. I've gone ahead and taken orange and I'm drawing it nice and big. And here again, you can go ahead and draw any designs of your choice. I'm just going ahead and drawing a bunch of wiggly lines, which are a bunch of wiggly circles to go ahead and add like a design to my Jupiter. Also make sure to go ahead and do your orbit nice and neat. All right, I can see everybody's sheet of paper looking so nice, so good. I'm so proud of all of you for going ahead and doing such a neat job. Let's not move on to the next one. All right, so we can go ahead and while everybody's finishing their Jupiter and doing their orbit, let's move on to the seventh fact that I have here for today. Okay, the seventh fact that I have here today is basically that there are around 500,000 pieces of space junk floating around in the outer space. What is space junk? Okay, space junk is basically anything that is thrown out into space. So space is basically our solar system, right? So a lot of the times when we have ships or rockets or things like that going up and about in space when they're doing research, there's a lot of things that is like, thrown around in space and that kind of just disappears into space. So as estimated by our scientists, there is around 500,000 pieces. What is 500,000 pieces? Around 5 lakh pieces that is just floating around in the atmosphere somewhere. Maybe they're hitting into each other, maybe they're not, but there are a lot of things flying around in our solar system that's just there and that's all thrown by basically us, which is very sad. We should not be throwing things into space, but that is something that does happen. There are around 5 lakh things floating around in space right now. All right, I can see everybody's drawing is done, looking very nice. So let's move on to drawing Saturn. So for Saturn, I'm taking a green color sketch pen. You can take whatever color sketch pen that you like. And I'm going ahead and drawing it with a dark green color. And I'm going ahead and adding a ring for Saturn over here. You can go ahead and add in a ring too if you like, and you can go ahead and add in some designs as well if you like. I'm just going to be leaving it like this while adding in an orbit as well. Well done, everybody. I'm looking at everybody's sheets and it's looking so, so, so nice. Well done. Okay, good job. So while everybody's finishing up their orbits, let's move on to the next point that I have right here, the next fact that I have right here. Now, the fact that I have right now is going to be my eighth fact that I'm discussing with you, which is basically in the universe or in space or what you see from our solar system is basically stars, right? We see a bunch of stars in our space. Now, if you count or you put all of those stars together, the number of stars that are there is actually more than the number of amount of sand particles that we have in our beaches on Earth. Think about that. So, if you actually count the number of sand particles that we have on Earth, is actually lesser than the number of stars we have in space. How cool is that? So that means think about the number of stars that we have in space. When we look on top and we look at the number of stars that we have around us, there are more stars on top over there as compared to the amount of sand particles that we have on Earth. So we have so many beaches, right? We have so much sand all around, but still um, so many. So it is estimated that the Milky Way, which is our galaxy, basically has around 200 to 4 billion stars, which is a lot of stars. A billion is a lot, right? So 200 to 400 billion. Think about that. How many stars are there on there outside in space? Mhm. Okay, let's move on to the next planet that we have is Uranus. I am going to be using a light blue color sketch pen for drawing Uranus, and I'm going to be drawing it right there. And I'm going to be adding like a bunch of designs to this as well. Still sticking to simple lines this time because I just want to do a bunch of simple lines. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do my orbit now. Make sure you do your orbit neatly. Don't want to, make it little dirty like mine got a little wiggly right there. Be careful about that. All right, well done, everybody. Okay, so let's move on to the next fact that we have right here. Now, since we were talking about the solar system, we were talking about the sun, and it's very important to talk about the sun because it's the center. It is something that holds all of us in place. That's the reason why the whole solar system exists, and we have the beautiful sun over there. So let's talk about the sun a little bit. So the ninth fact that I have for all of us is that the sun takes up the majority of the solar system. So if you think about the whole of solar system, 99% of the mass, that is mass as in the weight of what is there in the solar system, is taken up by the sun itself. So that is how big the sun is. That means the sun is huge, and basically it takes up 99.86% of the total weight of everything. So as if you count all of the rocks, if you count all of the planets, and you count all the stars, and you count all the moons, and you count all the rings, if you count everything and put it in one, it is the sun that is there will still weigh more than what all of those planets and everything combined will weigh. So think about that. How um, big is actually the sun then, right? Yeah. All right, so let's move on to our last planet, which is going to be Neptune. I'm going to be going ahead and taking a dark blue color sketch pen. Actually, I think that's a purple sketch pen. I'm taking a purple sketch pen and I'm going ahead and drawing Neptune right there. Neptune has rings, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a bunch of rings, and I'm going to go ahead and then draw the orbit of Neptune. Now, while you go ahead and draw the orbit of Neptune, let's move on to the next point that I have right here. So now our solar system, something just very, very interesting about the solar system itself is basically that the solar system is already halfway through its life cycle. So, obviously, like how we age, right? We are 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years old. In the same manner, the solar system itself has an age. But what they are saying is that our solar system is already around 5 billion years old, and that is already halfway through the solar system's age. So how, first of all, how old is the solar system already? It's already 5 billion years old, and it will, I think, continue to be another 5 billion years to go before the solar system, ages specifically, right? So well done, everybody. I can see that everybody's done such a fantastic job with their drawing, and we went ahead and did a sketch pen solar system work the day. All right. So excellent job, everybody. I'm so happy with what you went ahead and did today. I'm very, very proud of each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed all of those facts about the solar system that I had for you today, and you enjoyed actually going ahead and drawing the solar system the way we did today. So the submission for today's class is going to be for you to go ahead and click a picture of the solar system you've drawn and upload it. I hope these facts come in use at some point of time in your life, or this general knowledge comes to use at some point of time in your life, where you can go ahead and tell people or share with people. Make sure if you're going ahead and staying at home and video calling your friends, you can give them this information about what you have learned. Just make sure about two things. A is the submission program that we have, that the certificate program that we have. Attend all of your classes and make all of your submissions. That's point one. Point B is going to be to make all of your submissions, and the feedback program, that is, you will go ahead and get a personalized feedback from my end if you get selected as part of that top 10. So make sure you go ahead and do a good job for your submissions. In the next class, we're going to be taking another exciting topic, and I want you to definitely go ahead and attend that class and make sure you learn a lot more with me, right? So please make sure to go ahead and submit your work on time, attend all of your classes, and do excellent and do well. Bye bye. Have a look at the submission video for now.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link, and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app